Our second finalist is John Darby, a senior computer science and architectural studies major with a minor in studio art. He was paired with pitch mentor Phil Lodico, who is a co-founder of Fairwinds Partner, a domain name strategy consulting company. Won't you please welcome to the stage John, who's going to present guest critique.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for braving the weather. I know that was a difficult task. All right, once again, my name is John Darby, and I'm here to talk to you about my web service, Guest Critique. In order to understand Guest Critique's importance in design education, we first need to know a little bit about design. Design means something different to everyone, but for me, design is a translation of an idea into the built form. Now, design is everywhere. Design finds its way into everything from the clothes that you wear to the chairs that you're sitting in. Design helps us form opinions and identify with the products and spaces we use. The Highline Project, in particular, directly increases the quality of life for the people in its neighborhoods. These types of projects are what make me optimistic about design, because they push me to believe that we can design a better world. As an architectural studies and studio art student at Hobart and William Smith, I've spent over 5,000 hours in these beautiful studios over the last 4 years. I've pulled more all-nighters because of my work than is probably healthy. And I'm sure I'm not alone. He'd probably agree with me. Now, if one is engaged in any sort of design work, then they know that there are thousands of idea iterations, hundreds of revisions, and more time than I can care to remember transferring, accessing, sharing, and organizing my computer files. The inability to access my information in an efficient way adds to my logistical nightmare and my overall lack of sleep. Any design student will tell you how vital constructive critique is to their personal growth. One of my primary responsibilities as a student is to provide feedback to my classmates. A majority of our class periods are devoted almost entirely to working desk critiques, where students receive feedback from TAs and their professors. Personally, I've always wondered if there was a way to accelerate this process so our class hours could be used more efficiently. I finally just got so fed up with these problems that I decided to build a website for myself. Guest Critique is a web-based service and app that will make online studio critique the norm and solve our file sharing problems. Guest Critique's features include an online portfolio, a virtual studio, a virtual desk, and a critique gallery. Let me show you them. The portfolio is the mainstay of our user experience. Each student on Guest Critique will have unlimited access to their own personal portfolio, which grows with each class that they take. In addition, the user portfolios will allow for private and public viewing. Here at Hobart and William Smith, architecture students are fortunate enough to have a senior seminar where they compile their portfolios. Other schools aren't so lucky. Guest Critique would standardize this process from the very first year. Not only does this prevent seniors, like myself, from waiting till the very last year to capture 4 years of work, but Guest Critique will allow them to create a comprehensive and dynamic portfolio that is professional ready. Next, the virtual studios are linked to the student's portfolio. From their portfolio, students will receive updates with course information, outside meeting times, and TA notifications. Within a studio, a student has a critique gallery and a virtual desk among their classmates. The desk and the gallery help facilitate a dialogue between the students and the teachers. All right, so designers in general solve problems in a nonlinear fashion. So what we've given them are some pretty cool tools. Here, Frances Gross is working on her storyboard for her midterm. Within her virtual desk, she can upload new idea generations alongside past concept designs. This allows for a comprehensive view of the design, which is essential for the classroom critique experience. All right, to build a classroom critique experience, students invite classmates to critique on top of one another's work. For designers, the power of critique cannot be overstated. Guest Critique will create a classroom experience that will save students time and enhance their learning for future designs. Last, we have the critique gallery. The critique gallery is a stream of student work inside the virtual studio that can be critiqued by all members of the class in real time. Students critique each other's work only if it's pinned up in the virtual crit room or at the request of a student. Professors often require critiquing, and all students might be required to give comment. When students use guest critique to give feedback on each other's work, they are able to hand draft and freehand draw. Students have the selection of various colors, line weights, as well as types, and shapes to convey their ideas. Students can also use the layering function to develop new ideas. I personally love to use this, and that's how I develop my projects. Our next step is a mobile platform. This will put us directly in line with our largest competitor, Morpholio. Morpholio is solely a free app that has similar features, but it's simply in the wrong market. There are over 2,000 architecture and design schools nationwide. Guest Critique will position itself to directly target the students and teachers in the studio. We seek to ingrain our user base so that way they will want to continue to use Guest Critique after college. This is a very different tack than Blackboard or Canvas, who don't support the large files or the intricacies of the design process. Also, their users simply leave after graduation. I believe that there is a business opportunity for a software service that will save time, support portfolio development, and allow for the same classroom critique. Guest Critique allows for the same functionality as Canvas and Dropbox. Therefore, it will be served at an estimated $20,000 annually per school with a starting storage of 25 terabytes. This is based on 100 student users. We have already received positive feedback on the technology, and HWS has agreed to beta test across all introductory level architecture studios. With my team, we will use the $10,000 ask to professionalize and check the features of this pilot. Professor Kieran Mocker will help us coordinate the implementation of Guest Critique in her classrooms over the fall 2014 semester. With the pilot complete, I hope to grow my services to Cornell and Columbia University for large-scale testing. These schools have the power to set trends and standards for education in the design world. We are confident that we will be able to hear, hey bro, can you guest crit me on all 2,000 campuses within the next 2 to 3 years? For growth just beyond the college arena, my dream is to allow our users to continue using their portfolios after graduation. There are, in fact, 17,000 architecture firms in the United States. We aim to connect our users directly with these firms by adapting the model that LinkedIn has set for forming professional relationships through our portfolios. I think that there is as much to gain from my service at the professional level as there is at the collegiate level. In closing, Guest Critique is poised to change education in the design world. We first and foremost value constructive critique, and we seek to save our users time and unburden them from the logistics, so that way they can hone their creativity and focus on designing a better world for us all. Thank you. As you can see, it was a bit of a task. So we have a great, huge team that helped me. All right.
Who's going? So really, really nice presentation.
Thank you.
Nice job with the visuals, too. I think everyone was captivated by that. A couple of questions. So Dropbox, multi-billion-dollar company.
Yes.
In this space, stores tons and tons of files for folks. What makes you guys or your team think that you guys can outsmart them, right? They could put 25 developers on this tomorrow. What makes you think that you guys have something special?
All right. To start, we have something special because our users are incredibly pressed for time, and our users, in comparison to Dropbox, have complex files and different file types that are too large for a simple free subscription from Dropbox. Now, if we get into something like for instance, in Columbia, at Columbia University, students have tried to use Dropbox, and what ends up happening is one student gets a subscription, and then the other students that they're collaborating with are simply out of luck, and it doesn't help the process in any sort of capacity.
guess I just want to say I was not an architecture major, but I think it'd be really nice, or you're obviously in a great community where other classmates are willing to take time to critique your work. I think that's really, really generous. So kind of a new thought for me. You know, my question is what is the intellectual property here? You know, a little bit curious, you know, to where you're really differentiating yourselves, right? There are so many different options out there in the market, and larger companies who could throw a lot more storage. It's a very, very high price point. So what is that intellectual property beyond just bringing students together to critique their work?
In terms of my company?
Yes.
Okay, so we are providing new and innovative ways of reaching the architecture market. As architecture students, we spend an incredible amount of time in the studio, as you can see from my presentation. And the tools that we seek to bring, in the future, we're looking to expand and work with companies like Revit, AutoCAD, and Adobe, and to create sort of a plugin or something like that, so that way we could have our users directly integrate and send their designs, because most of our target audience will be operating on those systems. Hobart, I don't know if you know this, is a very, very special situation where we like to focus on hand drawing all of our designs.
Hey, one more, sorry, follow-up question, just over, you know, privacy and security and plagiarism and trademarks.
All right, awesome question. I've been working with my partner, Mark Benya. He's also done a startup company for studying and things like that. And just some information for the audience. You are legally required by law to have a terms and conditions section for all the, for whenever you sign up for something like that. And that would be something that would be handled in our terms and conditions section that would be written up with a lawyer.
From a branding standpoint, is it guest critique, guest crit? Is it GC? What do you? Have you settled in on what you're going to call?
I apologize. So that's a little bit of my fault.
Yeah, because every time you're walking through, I'm seeing different naming.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
at some point, you're going to decide on this is our deal. This is.
It'll probably be shortened to guest crit.
Okay.
Because that's sort of the jargon that we use around the studio.
Okay. Next question is, why wouldn't a person just do some kind of AutoCAD editing capability? Just saying, give someone edit responsibility to make an edit and make an update or make a notation and then save it and leave it in Dropbox.
Because you're doing an incredible amount of clicks with that operation. Our service, everything that you can do on those web pages that I just showed you, you can get to anywhere on my website with 1 or 2 clicks.
Okay.
We're talking about ease of use and streamlining the process. Many large firms and just students in general have a lot going on at the same time. And so that sort of ease of access is where we're at.
Okay.
This took an incredible amount of work. I can see that from you,
Thank you.
and I'm very impressed by that. So here we have Hobart and William Smith campus, and we want to try out your program, and let's say we do, and it's fantastic. How do you get your foot in the door of Columbia and Cornell? What's your plan?
So I am personally, I have a contact there. So I have already been introduced to a handful of people. They're not decision makers on what the funding looks like for that school yet, but I'm working to build that relationship. Okay.